Okay, let's dive into the marketing trends, where we look at the data that we pulled from our platform comparing 2020 versus 2019. In the midst of COVID in June of 2020, we sent out a traveler survey to thousands of travelers across the world, trying to figure out, okay, what is their behavior? What is their outlook? What are they thinking about? What is the travel expectation and travel demand that we have there? First thing we asked and what we dove into is, okay, how much travel has been canceled or how much travel has been rescheduled? And it showed us that 68% of travelers either canceled a trip or postponed a trip due to COVID-19. And I think we've all seen that there was a lot of cancellations and postponements that all of the hotels had to deal with. And this number is a big number, and we're still trying to recover from that. And hopefully we will be able to do that soon. The good news is that there is a lot of pent-up travel demand, right? 72% of all people that we had in the survey said that they are planning to travel within the next 12 months. So there is a lot of pent-up travel demand. People are looking forward to traveling again. So that means there's a lot of business coming our way. So you better be ready for that and take the biggest chunk that you can out of that. If you look at that across the certain geographical areas, Germany is actually the country where there's the most pent-up demand for travel. 81.4% of all people in that area said that they are expecting to travel. And also the Spaniards were very high in there with 79.7%. But across the board, as said in Europe, 74.7%, which is even higher than what we had globally. So there is a lot of pent-up travel demand in Europe. And I think we're all waiting anxiously for the hotels to be open again and being able to give us the full service palette of all the nice services that they can offer. And let's capture that as soon as possible, I would say. When it comes to where will they go when they start traveling again, 70%, of course, is domestic. That's what will open up first. That's where people will go first. That's what they're planning to go to. So 49.1% of travelers expect to travel within their country. And 21% actually travels within their region or home state or province. So people stay close. That's where they go first. That's also what's probably going to be allowed first based on the COVID measures that are in place for the various countries. So domestic travel is the first to come back, and that's where the pent-up demand is, and that's what we'll see first hit the market. If you want to get deeper into how do I anticipate the recovery? What do I need to do? What kind of campaigns do I need to build? What are the successful things that other people do in building a recovery plan and recovery campaigns? Please visit covid19hotel.info, where you can download our recovery guide, which gives you a lot of insight, a lot of data, and a lot of best practices on how to build these campaigns and to tap into that pent-up travel demand that's going to get into the market as soon as possible. Now let's switch to email volumes, right? Email is a channel that is near and dear to our heart, and we've always claimed that it is the most effective channel, and we're watching that closely as Revinate because that's part of our solution, and we want to be on top of that and see if there's any shifts there. And it's good to see, and also a bit strange actually, to see that in 2020, there was a huge increase in email volume on our platform, 40% more emails sent than in 2019. So a huge increase in number of emails that were sent out. Of course, they might have different topics and they might be of different nature, but in total, we had a 40% increase of number of emails sent on our platform in 2020 versus 2019. If you look at that through time, I think it closely follows the waves of COVID that have been hitting the earth over time. So June, August, and November were the highest peaks there on email volume. And that's at the end of the waves that we've seen, where people are starting to reach out back to their guests and to really incentivize people or update people on what is the status of my hotel? Are we open? What can you do in my hotel? How safe is it? What kind of measures are being in place? And when can we welcome you to our hotel again? But it's interesting to see that the volumes closely follow the waves of COVID that have sort of ran over this beautiful place called Earth. If you digest that differently and slice through it on a geographical basis, then you see that there is areas where there's huge increase in email volume. Middle East, Africa, Australia, and the German-speaking countries, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, are really the front runners here, where we have 59 or even 76% increase in email volume. And the other countries are also showing a solid increase in email volumes. The only ones that are sort of outliers here is the Benelux, where I'm a resident of, and LATAM. For a strange reason, there was a decrease in volume there. Maybe they didn't want to inform or reach out to their guests more than in 2019. But this is what the stats show for 2020, comparing it to 2019. But overall, a huge increase on email volumes across the board with some outliers. Also looking into, is email marketing still a usable and valued channel that you should use as a hotelier to reach out to your guests and to book your guests and to get revenue generated based off on? And this number, I think, says it all. 93%. The emails campaign sent in 2020 was accounting for the room nights, comparing it to 2019. So still shows you it's a strong channel, it's the preferred channel. It still is the one that resonates well with the audience and is not anywhere close to any of the other channel when it comes to effectiveness of using that as a tool to reach out to people and to reach out to potential guests and to incentivize guests to come to your hotel and book a stay. If you look at that across currencies, which sort of gives you a flavor on where in the world that's going, 105% in the Australian dollar area. So that's even more than in 2019, which is, of course, great, taking into account that we also had this thing called COVID, but also Canada dollar, US dollar, and Eurozone were in the 90s, which is, I think, still extremely well, extremely good, and shows you that this is a very effective channel to use, and you should be focused on it going forward also in 2021. GBP area was a little bit down, but still 72.9, which is the biggest share of what you will get, right? So that's it in sort of sharing with you the data that we've pulled from our platform in 2020 and comparing it to 2019. Now let's move over to my colleague Patrick, who will sort of use that data and share with you how you can use that on our platform to make informed decisions with the data that you pull and with the data that you can use.